In this video, I'm going to tell you how I went from this small and frankly ineffective and very dirty spray booth to this huge, spacious and frankly luxurious DIY spray booth with custom 3D parts. So let's go from cramped conditions, clogged filters, not to mention lungs, to something much more powerful that gives much more room for
so many activities!
And all for the cost of under 200 quid. So if you're ready, let's crack on. So as you can see from the footage, that old spray booth was just far too small. I was having to spray way out of the spray booth. But even when I was spraying something small enough to fit in the spray booth, I'd get so much overspray because it just wasn't pulling anything through the filters. So I took it apart to see if I could clean it, and it was gunked up to buggery, and it made me think how much of this gunk is going into my lungs if it's not pulling very well. And again, I'm breathing that stuff in. So as a side note, I'm going to be wearing a respirator all the time, even with a bigger booth, and everybody should be doing the same. But back to the spray booth and those fans. Those old ones that were made for PCs were probably pulling less than 100 cubic feet per minute. The fan I chose for this project pulls 400. But quickly on the subject of fans, I'm nearly on 10,000 subscribers, so really want this video to get me there. Your support has been absolutely incredible, so please watch this video as long as you can. That's the best thing you could do. Like, comment and hype it if you could, that would be amazing. So I chose this. This is an AC Infinity Cloudline S6. It's 150mm, that's 6 inches. It's an inline duct fan. What makes this different from those PC fans is the motor design. This is a mixed flow EC motor with PWM speed control. In English, that means it can maintain airflow even when there's resistance, like a filter in front of it. It runs at 30 decibels on full, and it is quite noisy. He says it's quiet, it isn't. Just for example, you get the idea. But it's a beast, so what do you expect? And it only costs 97 quid. Incidentally, I'll post affiliate links in the description. Obviously, I get a little bit of commission. It helps the channel grow. It doesn't cost you anything. So deciding how to build the booth itself, I came across this rather excellent idea that other people have had online. And that rather obvious idea actually is to use one of these storage boxes as your main booth structure. The great thing is there's loads of different sizes for you to choose from. I bought a couple of different ones and tried them out on my desk, and I ended up wanting to go for the Big Daddy, the 145 litre really useful box. It's about 45 to 50 pounds in the UK, so it's not too bad. But if you've got a different setup and not as much space, or you print smaller stuff than me, then yeah, just bring it down to like a 65 or 80 litre or maybe even 100 litre. There's loads of choice out there. An important thing to point out is that similar sized capacity boxes like this grey 60 versus the clear 68 might not be as suitable as the other. Some might be a bit too much of a cuboid, so they haven't got much depth, so go for one that's a bit more of a cube. But this one gives an internal space of 710 by 545 by 400mm, which is big enough to fit in, even this T-Rex just about that's 75 centimeters long. So with the S6 pulling 683 cubic meters per hour through that opening, I get a face velocity of about 0.49 meters per second. The benchmark for reliable overspray capture is 0.3 to 0.5, so I'm right at the top of the ideal range. Of course, I didn't work that out myself. I got all the information from Claude, but I did make this nifty plan though. So if I were you, I would use Claude or other AIs to get all your maths right first too. I wanted the bit that I think sets my own design apart from a lot of the others out there on the internet, is these custom 3D printed parts. So the filter cassette is based around a super ellipse, so there's no hard 90-degree edges that will keep the air flowing nicely. It's got about a 5cm extension from the sort of plane of the front of the cassette that goes through the hole that I've cut in the back of the box, that the plenum will then slide onto and just stay there via friction because it's going to be a nice tight fit. There's about a 5mm ridge for you to put one thick filter in there or a few thinner ones sort of sandwiched up, and behind that slots a grid baffle that just stops the filters from getting sucked straight through the fan. The plenum itself goes from the size of the super ellipse extension of the cassette, just slightly larger. It's got that corresponding 5 to 6 centimeter section that's going to slot over the top of that part of the cassette. And then it's tapered smoothly down to the 150mm circular opening that the duct into the S6 fan is going to attach to. Now, this is designed to provide positive airflow by reducing the size of the opening from that big front part of the cassette down to just 150mm that goes through to the actual fan. And then I added a bell mouth curve lip around the whole opening of the box to stop the sharp 90-degree edges of the box from creating any vortices and stopping that capture of all the escaping particulates and bits of paint. Then I smoothed off the very sharp 90-degree corners at the bottom of the box, which is now the back of the booth. Now, I did decide against showing you what I did in Blender to build them, because if you know how to use Blender, then they are really quite straightforward. But if you don't know how to use Blender, then you'd need quite a few hours of sort of beginner tutorials, which this video isn't really. But they will be available to my higher tier Patreon members for you to take and adjust or tinker with yourselves to fit whatever box you might have, or to use as they are if you do get your hands on a 145 litre really useful box. Now, because I was printing for such a large hole in a large box, I had to use the H2D for the most part, using the 0.4 nozzle at 0.24 layer heights. On the strength tab, I'd put to 4% lightning, but a lot of these parts on the screen here didn't really need any infill. But I was keeping everything lightweight and in PLA as well. You could probably print this in something a lot more sturdier and a bit thicker if you wanted to, but this is still a bit of a test, and with the parts being easily removable, or if anything needs tweaking, then I can do that easily with PLA until I'm very, very happy, and then I could upgrade. Incidentally, talking about printer settings, if you want some superb settings to start making your FDM prints look a lot like they came off a resin printer for your lovely figurines and such like, then my 0.2 nozzle and 0.4 nozzle guides are still available over on Gumroad, link in the description, or you can get both of the guides if you join either of my Fiend level tier Patreon memberships. Again, link in the description, so little plug there. But these parts you see on screen are for the bell mouth opening. Unfortunately, the 145 litre box, and I'm not sure if this goes for all the other really easy boxes, they have a sort of like protruding sections around the edge of the box that goes up into the lid. So you have to sort of like build a structure to go around them. I did manage to get the cassette cut into 4 and just about fit on the A1, that was handy. And all the parts of the sort of rounded cornered edges of the bottom or back of the box stroke booth could all fit on the H2D build plate. I did have to split the longer sections in two in Bamboo Studio. I did actually print connectors and dowel in, but I don't recommend that, and I'll show you why in a sec. These parts for the bell mouth curve took about 8-9 hours, cost about $5 worth of filament, and these curved parts were roughly double that. The plenum was about 9.5 hours and £7.50. This is presuming an average cost of about £15 per kilogram. And each half of the cassette was getting on for 4 hours and was just, £3 or so. And for the first time ever in a CrackFox Studio video, I'm not going to bother to show you the print results. I'm just going to show you the construction of it all. Now, by far and away, the hardest thing was cutting out the hole in the box, because I tried using a sort of Dremel cutter. That didn't work. I haven't actually got a jigsaw of any kind. So I then tried a Stanley knife, and it worked, but it was really hard work. And unfortunately, it did cause it to split in some areas. So I would use some kind of jigsaw if I were you. And because the plenum was so thin, because I wanted it to be flexible so it could slide over the cassette easy enough, I used a combination of gluing parts and taping parts and cobbling it together, really. The two halves of the grill, I actually used a 3D printing pen to sort of weld it together and then to tack it into the inside of the cassette. And I also used the 3D printing pen to help weld the 4 quarters of the cassette together. I don't know where the footage is of that. I'm very sorry about that. I then added this draft excluding tape around the outside of the cassette, and then some strips of this 3M Velcro, which is very strong actually. For the rounded off corner parts, I'd actually misjudged the length of the longer parts by about 3mm, so I just printed off a small section. But actually, when I come to glue it, because of the thickness of the glue, I didn't actually need that anyway, so I ended up taking that out. Super glue wouldn't work, so we used this Gorilla Contact adhesive. It does take a while to dry, but that's probably a good thing. It gives you plenty of time for adjustments. I then use an absolute metric ton of clear sealant to go all around the edges of the curved ones. It's, again, not got the footage of that. Very sorry. I was using my phone to record because I haven't got a decent camera, or I haven't got a camera, and I was clearing up space, and I think I've accidentally deleted some stuff. But basically the process is the same as what you've seen on screen with the bell mouth curve. And if you recall what I said a little bit earlier about that I had printed these sort of curved elements with dowels and holes and the long sides. And when I did originally 3D print them, I had glued the long sides together in 2 pieces into one. But actually, when I went to put them in, because of the thinness of the sides of the box, they're not actually flat, they bend. So it was sticking out either side, so I had to snap them in half and stick them in individually to give a little bit of an extra curve. They did have a little gap in the middle, so that's why I use the sealant all around, and also the sealant helps everything become airtight as well. So just make sure that any parts of the box that you're putting stuff into, just check how straight things are. Now, another benefit of having the larger box means that the plenum can be higher up. That means I can put the fan slightly underneath it, because I haven't got that much room at the back of the desk, as this terrible handheld footage shows. But it's pretty much done. All I have to do is then put the ducting out to the window. Well, actually, there's one thing I need to do, and that is to cut the filters into shape. The plenum makes a great guide for this. It's a bit of a downside that there's going to be a bit of wastage because it's not square, so you can't get, exactly the right size. You have to cut the filters, but it is what it is. The filters are the cheapest element, so it's no biggie. And they're dead easy to just push into the cassette from the front. And as you can see, the flow tests are super strong and smooth and lovely. Everything's working really nice. I just can't wait to get to using it. I'll probably put some LED lights in at some point as well. Might even skin the inside with some like grease-proof paper or something like that. Just get some stuff from the supermarket just to make it nice and easy to clean. So if you want to see some of the awesome figurines that I make out of FDM that looks like resin that I'm going to use this booth to create more of, then watch one of these videos. So please support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, hyping, and even sharing. Let's get to 10,000 subs on this video. I've been CrackFox, and I'll catch you next time.